This little tiny sunflower game is ruining the whole Matic network. Today we're going to talk about it, what it is if you haven't heard about it, and what is going on. What does this mean for Matic and the play to earn games as a whole? So stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Luke from Luke Plays to Earn, where I help the small investors, the little krills, to not be whale food, to survive long enough to one day maybe be a whale ourselves. And today we're talking about a game that I don't normally talk about because it's really new and mostly I focus on Splinterlands. But if you have watched my top 5 hottest of the week, this series that I'm doing on games that are rising up either in token price or just on the play to earn .net list or DAP radar, I've been watching this game slowly rise up all week, and I have tried it out now. I can't say much about it. I haven't done a ton of research, but I just want to talk about what is going on between sunflower farmers and the Matic network in general. What does this mean for play to earn games? Because literally I've seen this game. It was on the new list and popping up and, somewhere around the rank like 50, and then over a week it has literally become on DAP radar the #1 game, taking down inactive users, things like Splinterlands, Alien Worlds, Axie Infinity. It's insane that this game just has this explosion growth over the last 2 weeks essentially, and now is in the #1 spot. Now, if you don't know what Sunflower Farmer is essentially just a little farming game. Think Farmville, very basic. You pick up your plants and then you get some tokens out of that. And then out of that, you can plant new plants, put it in, pumpkin, turnip, beetroot, whatever it is, plant more, and eventually come back to harvest more of that, do some upgrades, do some crafting. It is honestly very basic right now. But the one cool thing is open source being developed. So you could think of it, well, if there's enough people actually playing this game and building onto it, maybe it becomes the next Stardew Valley, maybe the next Farmville that's actually legit, maybe the next Town Star of blockchain gaming. I don't know, but right now it's incredibly basic. But I do want to shout out, I think there are some cool things before I get into the negatives, things like it being open source so that more people can develop on it. They have essentially a token happening so that essentially as the token supply goes up, the price of your farming goes down, but the upgrades also go down, so new players can, in theory, get back into the game. And it also will hopefully help with the supply not being up way too much where the price of this token keeps going down, because we see a lot of gaming tokens being inflated as play to earn happens, and there's no way to really combat it. Well, this game is taking a different approach and essentially having a token happening, something like, we all adore Bitcoin for. The problem though is, one, it's on the Matic network, and for it to be saved to the blockchain for your progress of harvesting these plants, you're gonna have to go here and hit the save button every half hour, every time you do something in this game. Of course, if you plant for 4 hours, you save it, you can come back 4 hours later. I'm not saying you have to do it every half hour, but every time you make a new transaction, you pick up a plant, you craft, whatever, you're gonna have to hit the save button. And the problem is, as this game has risen in popularity and now has hit the #1 list on DAP radar, is that these prices of gas have gone way up, and the game does not allow you to edit them. They give you a suggested gas fee, which if it pops up here, it's not giving me the suggested. Hold on. So you can already see it's already having problems with trying to give me the gas fee because it's just been so hard on the Matic network. But even if it doesn't show, I can just tell you that pretty much every time I've wanted to save this game, I tried it out a couple days ago because it's #1. I'm like, well, let's just try it. It's about 0.5, sometimes even more than that, Matic to make one save to this game. Now, the problem is, as a new player, you can't make enough within that 30 minutes of this SFF token for it to be worth it. Essentially, now that the price has trailed back down, you're essentially losing money every time you go and try to play to earn. Now, I'm not blaming the developers. Some people are trying to say this game is a scam. Well, I think really the big problems are that this game has exploded far beyond what it was supposed to, at least right away. And the fact that it's on the Matic blockchain, even though Matic is supposed to be, essentially layer 2 savior of the ETH transactions, with this many users, according to DAP radar, which some people say this number is mostly bots, whatever, who knows how many are actual humans, but there are 350,000 people or bots trying to make these transactions and running up the price of Matic gas fees. When people were playing this game a couple weeks ago, before it really took off, you can make a save in this game for 0.005 Matic essentially. And so essentially it's 100 times the Matic gas fees. And the problem is it's not just on Sunflower Farmer. I use Matic for other things like DeFi, using it for Define and QuickSwap, things like that, liquidity pools, earning tokens, and finance. And it's just made all these transactions in the whole Matic network a lot worse. Sometimes, as you can see, maybe here it's giving me errors when I try to make transactions because it's so clogged down. Or sometimes it's giving me fees in Define that are 0.1, 0.2 Matic, which, again, I could do these things in Define a couple months ago. I can make transactions for all of my tokens. And again, as a small investor, I'm talking about moving around like $50 worth. And so back then, it was, maybe 2 cents of my Matic to do a, liquidity pool and move things around. Now I'm talking about 0.16 Matic, which is, roughly, depending on where the price is of Matic, somewhere between 20 and 30 cents for each transaction. So if I want to do anything in DeFi as a small investor that's trying to just move around $50, it doesn't make sense anymore because I'm probably going to lose $3 moving around $50 at a time. And essentially all my liquidity pools, all my staking, all that stuff, it doesn't even make sense to harvest anymore, which is pretty frustrating. Now, a lot of people are also frustrated about this. I saw a Reddit post about it being a scam. I don't think it's necessarily a scam. Even the developer comes and posts in here and replies to it. But what I think is really interesting is that in this Reddit post, there's a whole discussion about how people are really frustrated about it clogging up the whole Matic system and the blockchain. And people are saying, well, this is the problem with Matic. Even though it's supposed to be a layer 2 solution to ETH and give us low gas prices, and of course, compared to ETH, it obviously does. But the fact that one game can come in here, hype itself up over a couple weeks, and then essentially make all of our gas fees go up to where the little guys are really hurt by our transactions. Maybe if you're moving around tens of thousands of dollars, it's not that big of a deal. But to us as small investors, it's a pretty big deal. And a lot of people are mad just saying like the fact that one game can come in here and really, almost 50 to 100x our Matic fees is a big problem for this blockchain. Again, I'm not trying to downplay the developers or be angry at them. They've created a game that honestly, again, there's some cool things. Like you have to start the game by donating to charity. There is no private sale tokens. There's no, all these owners holding a bunch of tokens and using this as a pump and dump as far as we're aware. They are trying to just create a good blockchain play to earn game and make it open source so that people can make it even better. But the fact is, that this little tiny little farming game that almost has no play to it right now besides this very basic setup is taking down the entire Matic network. And essentially now this game, to start it, doesn't make sense anymore. The fees are, again, more than you can earn. And the fact that it's creating all of this clog for the rest of the system is a pretty big deal. Now, moving forward, what does this mean for Matic? Well, I'm still bullish on Matic in a sense. I'm still holding Matic. I'm still going to use the DeFi here and there. Maybe when the gas fees go back down, if they ever do. Maybe this game is just a wash in a week and we all forget about it as this little blip. I don't know what's going to happen, but to me, it is giving me a couple signals. One, Matic isn't really meant for, I think, play to earn gaming. Even though it has comparatively low gas fees to things like ETH, I still think we're better off doing play to earn games on things like the Wax blockchain, the Hive blockchain, things like Solana, because you're going to need incredibly low gas fees or no gas fees to be playing these games that have small microtransactions. Now, I don't know exactly why this game is making you save every 30 minutes. I'm assuming it's because a new block is being formed and they need to put this farm on the blockchain. But I don't know why it has to be 30 minutes. Could they have adjusted it to be, a couple hours or something like that so people are making less transactions? I don't know what this game could do. But my whole point is that it makes me less bullish on Matic as far as play to earn and is making me more excited for those chains that I just mentioned and other chains that are coming out too that I'm keeping my eye out. I haven't played as much on, so I won't talk about them. But there are other blockchains being developed that I think are better for play to earn games as well. It's also a really interesting discussion because anyone can build on these blockchains. So what do we do? You know, it almost seems like we need certain blockchains for certain reasons. You know, a Matic for DeFi. We need a Bitcoin for, you know, our gold standard and holding things securely. We need, you know, maybe Solana and Hive and Wax and some of these other blockchains just for play to earn games. I mean, it's interesting that because anyone can develop on these blockchains, you can't really specify what should be for what. And so even though Matic, we used a lot for DeFi and other things like that, now is being clogged up by just one little game. Imagine if 10 or 20 of these games start coming out. Is it going to clog the fees even more where now it's 1 or 2 Matic per transaction? Or maybe people realize that these games are too high in fees anyways to start, so why not build on a different blockchain? And people maybe just recognize that in general, and so we won't have these problems. Lesson learned, no harm done in a week or two. I don't know, it's hard to say. Either way, I think it's an interesting discussion on these blockchains, which one for play to earn games will actually win out. I am feeling worse about Matic in general, and I'm, again, more bullish on other things. But what do you guys think? Is this really that big of a deal? Is it a problem? Is it going to be continued to be a problem? Maybe they fix ways to make Matic even more scalable. I don't know. What do you guys think? And what do you guys think about this news and this game coming out? For now, that will be it. I just wanted to give a little take on this, and I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts as well. For now, adios, peace out, pa'alam, and I'll see you guys next time.